Dr. Peter Imoesi, Research Fellow, University of Aberdeen, joins us now for more. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, just briefly, before we go to the COVID-19 Human Challenge study, let's talk about what's happening in Scotland where you are. I mean, since the First Minister confirmed the country is on a downward slope of infections, hence so many measures have been dropped. It's been 1 week so far. What do you think?
So I think when it comes to Scotland, we are actually doing very well when it comes to the rate of infections and death as well. But also one thing we've kept constant is the use of face mask. At the same time, we do abide by the non-pharmaceutical interventions when it comes to enclosed environments. And at the same time, we still have limited workforce, or we have the hybrid kind of workforce still in place at the moment. So basically, I think we are not really off the non-pharmaceutical interventions completely compared to what you have in England. So far, so good. I think we're in a better place in Scotland. Then when it comes to the vaccine uptake, we do have a high rate of vaccine uptake in Scotland as well.
All right, let's come to the study. First, how often do you find someone willing to present themselves to be injected with COVID for such a science study?
I would say it's a little bit rare to have people volunteer to have themselves infected deliberately with a virus with little or quite a number of unknowns. So that's why when it comes to the level of participants, you may likely be struggling with people coming forth to get this particular trial ongoing. So I think it's a little bit complicated when it comes to the infections, because you do know some certain things. And when it comes to the other aspect, the long-term effect of this virus, no one can actually tell the implication of that actually. So people are a little bit skeptical when it comes to this kind of research actually.
What's your take on the type of research in terms of what it hopes to achieve? And I also take it that this is something that extends to the efficacy of the vaccines as well.
Yeah, so when it comes to the human challenge trial, the beauty of it when it comes to the SARS-CoV-2 is that you know the time point for which the individual is infected. Then you know the actual dose that is able to lead to systematic infections. Then you also know at what point is the individual able to clear up the virus. And at the same time, you're able to determine the actual immunity and the duration of that particular immunity over time. Then also, you can also tell to what extent do you need to expose this individual to lead to mild, moderate, severe infections. And based on all of these parameters, you could tell effectively if this individual are able to produce the required antibody you're looking for. Then subsequently, after that first infection, you could invite this individual back for the second exposure to see if they are able to release the required immunity against the reinfections you have. Then also when it comes to that, you can tell specifically which part of the virus region do you have this particular antibody targeting. For instance, when it comes to the vaccines, we know that the vaccines are actually targeting the S1 and the S2 region of the spike protein. Whereas when you do this kind of trial, you can clearly see if the natural infection is targeting other region of the virus, and which of this region gives a potential neutralizing effect when it comes to the overall immunity itself. So basically, when it comes to the human challenge trial, you can monitor all of these parameters to give you a fair understanding the way the virus behave and the way the immune respond over time. Then when it comes to the vaccines, finally, is that if you vaccinate people again, then you expose them to the virus. You can tell the way the vaccine and the immunity induced from the vaccine, you can tell the way it behaves to the virus itself. Now, based on all of these parameters, you can then go on to develop a very efficacious vaccines in the next generation of vaccines, actually.
And in terms of the timeline, when do we expect perhaps the final results of the study?
I think the first one had to do with about, 12 months, thereabout. So it depends on the duration of the second phase and what they intend to do. So the first phase is completed with the Imperial College study. So now they will go on to the second phase. And based on those particular data, we can tell the outcome. For now, they are holding on to the first phase of the trial because they're trying to ensure that these particular data are not kind of compromised over time. So basically, maybe this time next year, or maybe at the end of this year, we can tell exactly where we are with this particular data and the trial itself.
Indeed, and we also understand the team is preserving volunteers' anonymity with good reason. Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Moasi, Research Fellow, University of Aberdeen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.